What the World Needs Now with hosts Tom Whisinnand and Josh Monroe.
In this episode, we talk with Nancy Chung, also known as Fancy Nancy in Fifth, an inspiring fifth grade teacher from Irvine, California, about the importance of finding joy in everyday moments and using those to inspire the students and teachers that surround us.
All right. Well, Nancy, thank you so much for being here with us tonight.
Hi.
For our listeners who don't have the privilege of knowing who you are, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where are you from? What's your role in education? And just a little bit about yourself, a little bit of an elevator pitch, if you will.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Nancy Chung, also known as Fancy Nancy in Fifth on social media. This is my 26th year of teaching, so I've been around the block for a little bit. And I am teaching fifth grade currently. I've taught 4-5 combo and sixth grade 1 year, but fifth grade is my soft spot. I teach in Southern California in a city called Irvine, which is about 20 minutes from Disneyland. Yeah.
Awesome. And is it the university? Are they the banana slugs?
Oh no, the UC Irvine are the anteaters.
The anteaters. I knew they had a cool name. I knew they had a
It's Omaha. Josh and I are in Omaha. They've been to the College World Series before, so we've had
Yes.
They
the
have. Okay.
anteaters here. Yep.
Yep.
Bet.
The anteaters. Yep. We're built on a giant anthill, supposedly.
I love it.
Huh.
Yeah.
So you've been in for a while. Josh and I are getting there slowly but surely, right? What's been the highlight? Like, if you had to narrow it down to one thing that is like way cool, what would that be for you?
Oh my gosh. Can I pick two?
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely.
The first one's a short one. My daughter decided to follow in my footsteps, and she is in her third year of teaching. So that's like a huge highlight. I didn't think she would do it, but she actually is, teaching now, and she loves it. So that's a huge highlight. My second one, this past summer, 2 of my former students got married. So I've been to plenty of like student weddings, but it was either like the bride or the groom. But in this situation, like it was both the bride and the groom. So that was so fun.
Wow.
Yeah. I showed them like a picture of the yearbook. They're like right on top of each other.
I was gonna say, did you sit them next to each other? Is that how?
No, they did not like each other in fifth grade. I asked him like, "Hey, did you like Kylie in fifth grade?" And he was like, "No, she was so bossy." And I'm like, "Oh, now she's gonna boss you around for the rest of your life."
He knows what he's getting into. Yeah, he knows.
Exactly. Oh, they're a wonderful couple though. And she's a teacher too.
Wow.
Yeah, high school teacher. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's amazing. And it sounds like you've inspired a lot of people to follow that path. I'm curious.
Oh my gosh, I hope so.
Well, I'm curious, especially since your daughter has followed your footsteps.
Mhm.
We're in a bit of a crisis here in America with everything that's going on with the teacher shortage, the sub shortage, all of it. How do we get top teachers to go into education? Because you've been in it a long time. Like you've got the highs and the lows. So how do we help prepare young people to enter a field that is full of giving your heart nonstop, but not getting to a point where you don't have anything left to give?
Right. I mean, I hear from a lot of like the young teachers, aspiring teachers, and people who are kind of contemplating teaching, or teachers that haven't been teaching too long, but they're really struggling right now. They feel underpaid, unappreciated. And, even my daughter, she was sharing with me, like, it's tough at moments, certain moments. And she gives so much, like we give so much, right? And so she's like, I don't know if it's sustainable. I don't know if I could sustain this inspiration and this energy and even the strength. And she's like, I don't know if I can be a teacher forever. It's really draining at times. And so it's, that's a really good question. How do we keep like the top notch? Like, how do we recruit these top notch teachers? And I feel like, Josh, what you do on TikTok, because, I'm a huge fan, like what you do, like how you handle every situation, how you talk to the kids and how you talk to the audience. I feel like every day we're kind of recruiting in that sense. I think the biggest compliment from students and kids is like, I want to be a teacher just like you, right? Teachers who care for their students and teachers who make a difference and make that positive impact. I feel like that's kind of recruiting in itself, right? So I think just being a caring, compassionate teacher, I think is, and I don't know, just being a role model by showing them what we do and not just talking about it, but actually showing them. I don't know.
I'm going to take a moment and fanboy out on
Yeah.
Josh for a little bit here, if that's okay,
Hmm.
because he really does an amazing job at
Hmm.
getting what I think like true professional educators do. Um,
Hmm.
he gets that out there and he makes it real and he makes it accessible to everybody and shows what that human connection education is. Um,
Right.
and so I think what you said is true. Like we are the greatest ambassadors for our profession out
Hmm.
there. So Josh, thank you. Nancy, thank you
Hmm.
for doing that day in and day out. I
Well,
have to.
Tom, I can't let you go on without saying you do the exact same thing. So
Oh, thank you.
I know you're sitting there being humble, but
Um,
you are the exact same.
And Tom, what do you teach?
so I teach fourth grade. I taught fifth grade. I taught
Oh,
fourth grade.
okay.
I
Hmm.
dabbled in administration for a little bit. Thought that maybe I wanted to be in the office and deal
Hmm.
with adult problems and adult egos. And um, it was fine, but I wasn't fulfilled, that
Hmm.
wasn't sustainable for my personality, for my life at the time. And
Hmm.
so life situations putting me back in the classroom, and it's been the best decision that's ever been made.
Hmm.
I am curious, Nancy, what
Hmm.
got you into education? You've been in it for a while, you've made it a career. Like, what are
Hmm.
some tips? What advice did you give to your daughter? What can we
Oh
do?
my gosh.
How did you
Well,
get here?
okay. So growing up, I mean, I've always loved kids, and I knew I wanted to go into teaching, but I also loved art. And so I was kind of like at a crossroads. I'm like, do I go into teaching? Do I want to go into art? I was really torn. So I decided to go into art education. So I thought, okay, that's, like that's kind of like not killing two birds with one stone, but just, like that's what I wanted to do. And then I found out that, when there are budget cuts, like the art program is the first to get cut. And I'm like, okay, that's not going to work. So I chose general ed, and I do integrate art into everything that I do in my classroom. But um like I think it's the fact that teaching, like, every day is unique. I get bored really easily, so I don't think I could hold an office job. So the fact that every day is a unique day, and some are a lot more adventurous than others, I think that's what continues to keep me interested and keep me like loving teaching. And like, I think after teaching for a while too, like I have kind of dabbled into other aspects of education. So whether it's creating content on social media or speaking at conferences, like it's like being a teacher has opened the door in so many ways for me. So yeah, and I tell my daughter, like, buckle your seatbelt. Every day is going to be an adventure. There will be good days and bad days, but know that it's very rewarding. And you just have to be in. I said, if you don't have the heart, so give it a try. And if you don't love it, you could always get out, because we want teachers who love kids, who love teaching, to stay in it, right? So
Yeah.
if you feel like it's not for you, then get out after trying.
Right.
You're 100% right that each day is a new day. Whenever
Hmm.
somebody's like, what's your favorite part of teaching? I mean, the cliche answer is to say the kids. And so I start out, of course it's the
Right.
kids, but beyond that,
Hmm.
each day's new. Like you
Yeah.
never know what you're going to walk into. And if
Right.
you messed up somewhere the day before, you can fix it
Hmm.
in this new day. And I think that that's a beautiful part of teaching.
Right. And we always have to evolve, right? And so that keeps us challenged too.
Yes.
So yeah, even after teaching for a while, like new curriculum, new standards every day. So we have to continue to develop and grow, which I love too.
And Nancy, I learned something new about you today. I did not know that you were super into art.
Oh yeah.
If you are listening and you don't follow Nancy, it's Fancy Nancy in fifth. Go check out her content and go watch one of her classroom videos, because now it makes sense when you say that you're into art and
Hmm.
you can see everything around your classroom. It looks like what's that chip in Joanne's Gaines? Oh, I can't. Fixer
Oh,
Upper. Have you ever seen
Fixer
Fixer
Upper.
Upper?
Yeah.
It looks like the after product of them
Oh my
walking.
gosh.
It's
Thank you.
absolutely beautiful.
No, so people,
I've
yeah, people.
actually,
Oh, sorry.
sorry.
No, I was gonna say, people think I spend a fortune in my classroom, but a lot of it are like, I'll go to garage sales, or people will donate things, and I'll just kind of like fix it up, and I will like repurpose things. So,
Okay, so it
but
is
I love
kind of
it.
like
Yeah,
a Fixer
it
Upper.
really is. It really is.
That
That
is
would be kind of a
awesome.
fun show, like having like a classroom. People say like you should do like classroom makeovers. Like, yeah, with all the extra time I have, right?
That
Yeah.
could be another avenue to take to get your your hand in another pot.
Yeah,
Um,
maybe.
but I've also grabbed some ideas for art. We don't have an art teacher in my building, so I teach art.
Mm-hmm.
I am not artistic at all, but I've grabbed a couple of awesome ideas from you, and
Cool.
I continue to use that self-portrait art at the
Oh,
beginning of the year where students write out their goals for the year.
yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
I
Awesome.
grabbed that from you.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, let me know if there's anything you like. I'll share whatever with you. But yeah, I art's my thing. Yeah.
Well, it is very clear that you love what you do, you are invested in what you do, but has there ever been a time where you've kind of questioned whether teaching's the right spot for you? Has there ever been a dip moment for you?
Oh, absolutely. I think anyone who says no, they're either lying or they're delusional or they have no idea what they're doing, right? So there have been, like a few moments. Like I'm an empty nester now, but when my kids were super little and they were really sick, and I still had to like leave them with grandparents and go to work and take care of other people's kids, like that was really heartbreaking. And I had moments of like, why am I doing this? So I had moments like that. But recently, like during the pandemic, like I think like when the pandemic first hit, like that March to like the summertime, it wasn't as bad because I thought parents were a lot more forgiving, and I don't know, everyone was very understanding of it because I think everyone was in survival mode.
Yeah.
The following school year when we started, I just felt like parents were tougher, admin was a little bit tougher. I mean, our admin's great, but our district implemented a new LMS system, like platform, and we had a new virtual curriculum. I was teaching a 4-5 combo class with 2 different schedules and two like everything, and I just had a meltdown. Like I just started crying. I'm like, I can't do it. And it's like teaching an old dog like new tricks. And I was like, maybe if you're fresh, because that's when my daughter started, and so that's all she knew. And she got her master's in like educational technology, so she was like, she just jumped right in, and she didn't know any better. But I was like, I can't do this, and I'm very like techie, but like I don't know, I just had a complete meltdown, and I'm like, okay, like this is real. Like yes, there have been many moments like that. I
No,
bounce back.
I think that's absolutely incredible. And I want to dive into a little bit more, if we can, into your daughters, like getting into education, getting her master's right away. Like
Hmm.
the pay increases a little bit there. Like I'm sure the stress for like taking the classes while you're teaching was there. But
Hmm.
gosh, these new teachers, they're pretty sharp. Like if they
They
came
are.
in during the pandemic, they're pretty quick.
Hmm.
They're pretty adaptable. Man, the skills that they have to learn
Right.
and to flip on a dime, that's pretty wild. Because I'm willing to bet they
Hmm.
probably didn't get much training in their teacher education courses about pandemic education, you
Oh
know?
my gosh. Right. And yeah, and then like, and a lot of them had to student teach like in a virtual setting. So their student teaching was through Zoom.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Gosh.
tough.
If that happened to me, I don't think I would still be in teaching because I'm with
Right.
you,
Yeah.
Nancy. That was the last time that I had a real breakdown on, I don't know if I want to be a teacher anymore because my
Mm-hmm.
big thing is sitting there being with kids, and it just wasn't the same when it was on a Zoom call or you've got kids
Right.
that are zoned out, and
Hmm.
your classroom management techniques aren't going to be the same as they are, and we were just thrown
Exactly.
into it. I was like, I don't know what to do.
Right. Right.
So, Tom, you're 100% right. Those new kids, new teachers that are coming in now, man.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely incredible. And kudos to you for, as a parent, like not only having your daughter get into education, but also like getting that master's degree. I think that's something that if it's viable at all for new teachers, they
Hmm.
need to look at furthering their education. And the sooner the
Hmm.
better, because not only is it that pay increase, but it's also, Malcolm Gladwell's whole look at 10,000
Right.
hours. It takes 10,000 hours to become an
Hmm.
expert
An
in
expert,
anything.
exactly. Hmm.
Right. And so
Hmm.
if we look at just teaching, if you're only teaching 8 hours a day and that's your job and you're not furthering yourself in regards to staff development or self-development or self-learning, it takes
Hmm.
a lot longer to get to that 10,000 hours where you feel comfortable enough to be an expert in anything. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Right.
that's
Hmm.
awesome. How do you stay inspired? You love art, you bring art into your classroom, you redo things. Like you can see on the content you create the joy. Like it is just
Oh,
pure,
thank you.
unadulterated
Mhm.
joy that you bring into your classroom with your students. How do you bring that? How do you bring that energy every day?
Oh gosh. I kind of mentioned like evolving and growing and like developing as a teacher too. I put myself in situations where I'm going to be a little uncomfortable,
Mm,
whether it's, because of like imposter syndrome or, just self-doubt or whatever it may be. But I put myself in situations where I know I have to grow. So
mm,
whether it's like, so just recently I kind of, started getting into like speaking at conferences. Before I was like, who am I to talk to other teachers? Like, what am I going to share? But I just did it. I just took that leap of faith. Like 7 years ago, our school needed a robot. Well, we were starting up a robotics program and said, "You're it. You're innovative. Like you can do it." I was like, "I was an art major. What do I know about robotics?" And I thought, you know what? The whole program itself was like built on learning as you go and, like making adjustments as you fail. And
mm.
so I thought, you know what? I'll do it. And so we did it. And after our first year, we started competing. And I want to say 4 years in a row, we made it all the way to the world championship in
Whoa.
Vex Robotics. Yeah. And I had an all girls team and a co ed teams. And it was just such an amazing experience. And the kids, well, people were like, wow, you're so amazing at coach. I'm like, I didn't do anything. I just kind of facilitate the learning. And when kids come to me saying, oh, I have this problem, what do I do? I'm like, okay, you need to go figure it out. Talk to your teammates and you need to figure out a solution. If that solution doesn't work, you have to find other ways to do it. And then they're like, okay. And they would go and be amazing. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty good. This works. Yeah.
That that's awesome. Dave Burgess talks a lot about being the guide on the side instead of the sage on the stage. So
Mhm.
I think that what you're doing is creating lifelong learners, right? Like that's what
Exactly.
we want from our kids is to be
Right,
problem
right.
solvers, and when they leave our classroom to be able to think without somebody always being able to, or somebody always telling them what to do.
Right. But I also like, if I could add one more thing, like having a community, like for me, like during the pandemic and during teaching, like having a community of teachers who also love like, what they do, or, like community of Instagram teachers, community of TikTok teachers. I have formed like a local, like, not just local, like people who live in Orange County like me, but, people even today, I was talking to a bunch of teachers from like Minnesota and New Jersey, and we're talking about like teachers pay teachers or whatever it is, like having that community of teachers who are experiencing the same things with you to go through the ups and downs of teaching and in life. I think that's key, having that support and having fun with them.
I can't say that enough too. I think that
Mhm.
um I wish that I would have got a little bit more direction on that in my early years. You know, when I went into education many, many years ago, it was here's your skills, it's your classroom, you shut the door, you do
Mhm.
your thing, and we'll provide you staff development. But there really wasn't the emphasis on having that community of learners, adult learners around you. And that is so powerful. And I love that the technology has opened it up to be worldwide, you know,
Mhm.
and
Absolutely.
national. I think that's so vital
Mhm.
if we're
And
supposed
same
to
with
grow.
the fun, because there's a lot of nuances that go into teaching. But if we lose that fun factor, man, that's where we kind of start to lose our inspiration, I think, as well. And
Right.
Nancy, one of my favorite videos that I've seen of yours is when you were decorating windows.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that goes way back.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
I've been a follower for a long
Oh
time.
my gosh. Yeah, that was,
Can you
yeah.
just talk to us a little bit about that? Because that was a time where I was like, this is cool. This is what
Oh,
teaching is. And it had nothing to
yeah.
do with like reading
Right.
or but it
Yeah.
was about having fun.
Right. So it was the year that we came back from the pandemic, and we had this like crazy system, and like, even like our kids were lucky enough to be able to play on the playground, but they had different stations set up. And so they had to kind of rotate, so there wasn't too many kids on the playground. And I was just, in my classroom during recess, and I was looking out and I was like, gosh, it feels so good to have these kids back playing on the playground and having fun. And they still have to wear masks. But I was like, you know what? I just love them. And then like some of them started waving. And so I'm like, okay, and I teach upstairs and our windows don't open. So I took a post-it and I just like, I put together hi with a smiley face. And then, like they're all waving and jumping up and down. And that was like my first post-it window art, that kind of went viral on TikTok. But what was funny is one of the portable teachers thought that the message was for them. And so they did like a little message back. And so that kind of started like a post-it war, and so I started, I think like Groundhog's Day, we did like a groundhog and they did like a groundhog with a heart. So it's like, and then the kids were like, can you do, Minecraft characters? Can you do Pokemon characters? So, and that just brought us so much joy. So like what Josh said, it had nothing to do with reading. It had nothing to do with education, but it just brought us joy. Every day they were looking forward to seeing something new on the window. They're like, can we help you? So it just brought so much joy. And that's what you have to do. You have to have these little things, whatever it is, to have them love coming to school, something fun to look forward to.
Mm.
Yeah.
We had another guest on that spoke about joy and how it's a decision you make every day to look for it. And I can't emphasize that enough. And so thank you for bringing that up again. Finding the joy and having the kids find the joy and practice finding that joy, right?
Yes.
So,
Even in those situations.
Yeah.
Yeah, that practicing part, that was what really stuck with me. It's you gotta practice it. Well, Nancy, you talked a little bit about being a robotics coach. I am kind of curious about the world championships. Like, I didn't know that elementary aged kids went to world championships for robotics.
If you saw it, you'd be amazed.
Okay, so
big. Yeah.
First, I'm wondering, like, where was it? And this has nothing to do with like what we're going to talk about, but
right.
I'm curious, like, where was it? How'd you get your kids there? What was it like?
It was in Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay.
Yeah. So we had kids from like all over the world. I mean, kids from Ethiopia, some of the countries were like, wow, you have a robotics team in Ethiopia. So we have like, and it's such an amazing experience, but it used to be in Kentucky. Now they hold it in Dallas. So I think they had like a 5-year contract. So they're in Dallas now, but thousands and thousands and thousands of students from all over the world will come and compete. And at the elementary level, like you have to compete together. There are like 2 teams. You're paired up with another team and you compete with another team. So it's like collaboration too. But just and we did fundraising for the kids to be able to fly to Kentucky and for lodging. But it was just an amazing experience.
That's awesome. And so I guess my real question then comes with, that's a pretty innovative program that you helped start at your school. Do you have any other innovative programs or apps, curriculums that you use to inspire your students?
Well, I feel like there's so many. I don't even know like which ones to share first. I'm always getting amazing ideas from like TikTok and Instagram, and people ask like, "Oh, do you know any great PDs?" I'm like, TikTok, and people laugh at me, but it's true.
Yeah.
Like the latest, right? Whether the students or the teachers will talk about it. Now, being a content creator, like I feel like I'm at an advantage because sometimes when like educational technology companies want to start something or they want to boost something or like implement it, they'll reach out and say, "Hey, would you like to try this out first?" I'm like, "Sure, bring it on." And so, I want to say last year, a company reached out and they wanted to instill love of science in kids early. And one way to do that, they did research and they said, everyone loves Minecraft. So they said, why don't we do something with video games with Minecraft? And so they created this game called Periodic Odyssey, where they have to mine for different, like the periodic table of elements. And so I got to try that with my students, and they were like, "This is the best thing in the world," or whether like Adobe, Google, like whatever it is. Like, and I love all the game ones too, like review game ones, GimKit, Blue-Git, Quizlet, but anything that will get them excited and interested. And I try to use technology not just for the sake of using technology, but like meaningful technology. So I tie it into integrating art, art or playing review games or creating something. But I feel like there's a new app all the time and it's hard to keep up. But we just try it and like, if we don't like it, we don't use it, but we have to constantly change it. Because if you like, let's say like their kids like GimKit, and so you play GimKit every day, they're going to get bored,
Totally.
right? So you got to change it up.
And that's important too, that the kids see us
Hmm.
modeling, trying new things. And if it doesn't work, being open to the fact that
Yeah.
maybe it didn't work and being transparent with them and saying, yo, I can see that this is not the right fit for you all as learners. It's
Hmm.
not the right fit for me as a
Hmm.
facilitator. We're going to take a step back from this and let's try something new. And I think the kids respect that, you know?
Yeah. And sometimes when I tell them like, oh yeah, I can't get it to work, and they're like, oh, let us try. And they'll figure it out. I'm like,
Oh,
okay.
yeah. They're
It's like
perfect at
second
that.
nature. Uh-huh. I'm like, we'll figure
And
it out.
sometimes it actually works, you know? If
Yeah.
you listen to
Yeah.
them, they actually know what they're talking about.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Absolutely. Hmm.
Nancy, I've loved talking with you and learning with you. And Josh and I say this a lot, but
Oh,
we
thank
mean it.
you.
Like, this is the best part of our week. Just getting together and FaceTiming or Zooming or just learning from other people and the graciousness for you to take your time and share
Yes.
your expertise. Like,
Oh, thank
it
you.
just is amazing. So thank you. At the end of
Oh, thank
every
you.
episode, we ask what the world needs now. In the 60s there was a song and Josh used to sing it, but it's cold outside now.
World needs now.
No.
You got it.
There you go.
That was great.
Little cameo. Yeah, I'm impressed. What does the world need now? And it doesn't have to be an education. It can be anything you want. What does the world need now?
Oh gosh, this is like a Miss Universe question. Like, no, I'm just kidding. Um, One word that just pops up in my head that just plays over and over is compassion. I feel like if you have compassion, it'll solve so many issues in the world, like being able to step back and view a situation with a different lens, seeing multiple perspectives. I feel like whether it's, toward teachers, toward students, toward administration, or toward like the slow cashier who like messes up your order or whatever it may be, I feel like if you have compassion, it'll solve so many problems.
Mm.
That's such a, like, it seems like such a cliche, but
No, but you're
yeah.
100% right. Our world would be folds better if we would just look with a different perspective for a moment and
Mhm.
show compassion and love towards others.
Yeah.
Well, Nancy, thank you so much for being here with us tonight. This has been a joy and a privilege. And just to reiterate what Tom says, this is our favorite day of the week to learn and grow, as
Wow.
you were talking about, with members of our community. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much for having me. This was really fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's our show. We're so thankful and appreciative that you took your time to listen.
Hopefully you're ready for another week of changing lives, and hopefully what the world needs now is helping you to sustain your inspiration as we journey through this school year together. If it is, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It helps us to get other inspirational educators' stories out.
We hope that as you head out, you remember that the biggest factor that plays into student success is you. Your love, your passion, your empathy, your dedication is exactly what the world needs now. Thank you for all you do. Have a good one.